We're live.
We're live. Hi, everybody. Hope everybody is joining us today. Welcome aboard. Ron is just putting last finishing touches on getting the operation working here, I think.
Yep.
We'll be underway.
Trigger.
I think Kath said she was going to join us as an admin on this as we go through and answer questions for people. So if anybody's out there,
Yep.
hello to you all and hello to Kath. Appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, I got the chat all set up, so we should be good. So.
Okay.
Great.
So we shall begin with some work in hand.
So I'm going to the left today because he seems to be doing better with that.
Okay.
It changes week to week with him.
Yep. It's very funny how very often the side that was the most difficult, once they stretch, it's the other way around. So just stay here on the circle till he starts to stretch all the way down. Always working on a circle in the beginning just so we get what we want so we can engage that inside hind leg easily. We get him moving and swinging, but he's certainly looking good. Just going around that circle one more time, and then we should be able to go large by then. It's starting to look good. Very nice. And now we'll go down large down the long side. And we'll turn by the center line at the top and do a leg yield to the right. Very nice. Good, nice big deep step in that.
I think it helps he's wet.
And once we get that, what's that?
I think it helps when he's wet, so he feels a little
Yeah.
tappy.
Slippery. There we go. And on the circle here, let's let him stretch all the way down again on the circle. Move the hindquarters a little more outside your circle there so he keeps engaging that inside hind leg. And now go large. He can come up a little bit if it's comfortable for him and do a shoulder in going away from me.
Do you want me to go large, you said?
Yeah, so go large and then shoulder in down the long side, moving away from us. As I said, if you want, he can come up a little bit from the stretch if you want, more into a working position, if that's capable. We'll go ahead and stretch down this long side, then come back to me in the shoulder in on the other long side. I love how regular he's getting in all this work. Very nice, right there. It's very good. Now, once you get down to this end again, let's go around the circle now, keeping him up in that working position. About where you have him right now is quite nice. So his step hasn't changed at all. He's still working nicely over his back as you brought him up a little bit. Now stretch him all the way down and lengthen the stride around the circle. So ask for even a little more. Move those hindquarters out just a little bit so he keeps engaging that inside hind leg. We get a little more flexion in that inside hock like that there. Even a little deeper so you get the step even a little longer. He starts to overreach a little more. Now staying on the circle, now bring him up from the stretch and stabilize him in the working position. There you go. About like that's good. We didn't see any change in this footfall, so that's really good right there. It's quite nice. That's a good working walk for him. And when we look at this horse, you can see how he's built. His neck comes straight forward out of his body. He doesn't have a neck that goes straight up in the air out of his shoulders. So we have to work with the conformation of the horse that we have. They can all engage their backs, but where their neck might be different. So where it ultimately ends up, if you will. Because we've got to work with the horse's conformation. We can't make something into something that it is not. And let him come back up again into the working position. You get him a little bit shoulder fore in the working position now one more time. Get a little more contact with your outside rein as you bring him up. There you go, right there, very nice. And now just ask him to halt and see if he'll just stay there in that for you. Oh, there we go. Now don't just throw away the rein, just keep a little more contact than you have right now. I just want to see if he'll soften his jaw. Just like that, kind of, there, it kind of lowers it a little bit. Just stand still there for a moment. Oh, there, buddy. Let's try that again. Go ahead and walk on again. We'll start from the stop again, because by the time he's gotten out of it and dropped his back now. Kind of all has to happen at once. There. Just let him go all the way down the stretch again as you open it up. So the next time when we bring him up and I ask you to halt him, just keep softening him with your fingers. Don't let it ever become hard, but don't just throw them away either and see if he'll stay up. Now bring him up into the working position again. Get him a little more shoulder fore so he's really getting that inside hind leg engaged before we try to stop again. Keep him right there. Be sure you have contact with your outside rein. There we go. And of course, when I'm saying contact, it's just the slack out of the rein with a positive feel right there. Now ask him to halt. And just keep softening him through the halt just a little bit. Don't throw away the reins. That's it. Just let him stand there like that. Don't completely throw away the reins. Let me see if he'll just soften his jaw a little bit. Stop him right there a little bit. So you just don't let him just decide to take off when he wants to. Right there. Just keep it right there for a second.
Likes to walk out of it.
That's that. Exactly. We'll do that one more time. Just let him stretch all the way down. Let's get him moving actively again. A little bit of reverse psychology. We'll get him moving a little more than he wants to, and then we'll ask him to halt again. Like it. Now go ahead and bring him up again. So we're just beginning of this, so I'm not expecting it to be perfect. Just giving you an idea of where to go next. But asking him to step over a little bit. Be sure he feels really soft in your hands. Soft in the jaw and pull like that. Right there. It's getting better. Now ask him to halt and just keep softening him through that. Say, ho. Just don't throw away the rein. Just keep it steady there for a minute. Just don't do anything at all. Just stop again. There you go. And go ahead and walk on again. Don't let him relax. I don't want to reward him for that. And go ahead and stretch him back out again, all the way down. And all the way down the stretch. Good. Get it really active. Now let's try this with him in a little bit lower. So once you get him soft into the contact like that in a lower position, we're going to ask him to halt again. Be sure he's all the way stretched out. See if he'll stay there. Now ask him to halt. And a little better. Good. It wasn't totally high-headed. We'll walk on again. And all the way stretched back down again. And now just from the stretch there, let him get all the way down there and then ask him to halt.
Oh.
There you go, that's a little better. He's just not quite ready to stop on the bridle yet, but that's all right. Go ahead and change directions.
Yeah, he's got the habit of lifting his head up every time he stops.
Yeah, it's like, oh, drop it. Okay. So just keep working on that little by little each day, experimenting with where his head and neck is when you ask him to stop, either lower or higher. And then just a little more active step now. And on the circle till we get him all the way down there. A little bit more active now. The hind legs are kind of dragging a little bit. There we go. Like that. Begin to open up. Another little tap. Get a little more active step. Not quite as good in this. There we go. Now it's starting to step. And everybody watching this, watch as this horse's head and neck drops down, because this horse is a very straight behind. And it's only when he gets in the right position there that he can actually flex his hock. That's why it's so important. With every horse, we have to find that position of the head and neck that allows that to happen. And of course, that will develop as time goes on. Nice there. Now go ahead and go large in that stretch, keeping that down the long side, and then turn by the center line at the top and leg yield to the right. Left, I mean, sorry. Very nice. There you go. And then all the way down in the stretch again. Now at the circle at this end, I want you to bring him up into a working position, wherever that is for him, where we can keep it without losing the movement. Does a little of that, then we have to ask him to step over a little bit more again. Take your time. Important. Get a little.
There's a little bit bigger raindrops coming down, so
yeah.
I guess that's one way to get a little bit more.
Yeah, there you go.
Behind it. Good boy.
Like that. Good. Now try to bring him up to that working position again. See what we get to here. Try to shorten that outside rein first. Actually, probably get your hand at outside rein where it needs to be. There you go. It's getting better. Now go ahead and go large in that. We'll see if we can keep a little shoulder in going down this long side away from me. Once again, if you feel like you need to let him drop and get into a deeper stretch to keep the movement, then that's perfectly fine. A little bit bigger step, keep asking for that until he starts to really stretch out and uncurl, if you will. And then we'll try the shoulder in coming down the next long side. That's it. About there, good. Be careful he doesn't bend. That's no more bend in the neck. That's it. Good, like that. The bend is in the middle of the body. There, like that. That's really good. That's good for him. Very nice. And then let him stretch all the way down on a circle here and open up that walk again. Now on the circle, beginning to bring him up and finding that working position again, wherever that might be with him. Obviously a little more difficult in this direction. Try to push the hindquarters out on your circle there a little bit so he engages there a little bit more. That's better. Now you're getting it right there. Right there is pretty good. Keep that. Keep that. All around the circle. Keep the step. Keep the step. Tap. Now all the way down and lengthen around the circle again. Like that. Good. Now bringing him back up into the working position again. There you go. It's getting good. A little more outside range, just a little bit, so you keep that neck straight in line. Better. Come up a little bit now. There you go. Soften him a little bit. That's better right there. Now all the way down again. Then once you find the stretch all the way down there, once again, just ask him to halt from the stretch.
And
Let him just stand there for just a second. Now start to ease your. He looks like he wants to go down. Give the rein a little bit now. That was better. Go ahead and slip your reins a little bit. Let him have a little more rein. But just stay there. I just want to see. Just keep him straight in front of you like that. Just let him relax for a minute. At least he didn't totally invert himself that time. It's better. Okay, let's go to the lunge line. That was good.
good boy.
Good stuff. Not quite ready to stop there on the bit yet, but that's something you can continue working on little by little.
Yeah, I've been doing those exercises you showed me. Bringing them up and then stopping with them.
Yep.
It's part of the routine now, and
It'll just get easier and easier.
it's getting a little easier. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yep.
And a lot of it has to do with the day too, because some days he's more cooperative than others, I think.
Yep. That's the name of the game. And of course, our big question is always, well, why? If they're not being cooperative, why is it different? But sometimes it isn't anything more than they've just, feeling good or whatever the case may be, not quite ready to settle into the work yet.
Yep.
Right.
Thank you.
Very nice. Now, even starting off, you gradually begin to try to move those hindquarters out on the circle. So once again, we get him a little bit shoulder forward on the circle. That's getting better. And as you can, gradually trying to move away from him, moving him away from you.
Good boy.
All right. That's it. Soften him a little bit with that inside line, just feeling that rein a little bit. No. 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 Sorry, I have a cat here trying to unhook my internet.
Cat wants to get involved in the lesson, huh?
Yeah. So, why are these cords here? More like it. Relieve himself for a moment there.
There you go.
Good boy. There you go. Just, again, just feeling that inside line just a little bit as you gradually try to move those hindquarters to the outside. There we go, like that. And now you can drop.
We got Speedy today.
Yeah. You're still having all that rain noise. I can't really hear it on here.
Yeah, it's raining. Not as hard as it was. There you go. Come on, buddy. There you go.
Keep bringing him in on your circle. So every time you get out there and he's still not stretching, then bring him back in to you and then move those hindquarters a little bit again. Getting better.
Good boy. That's it.
That's getting better. There we go. Now we're getting there. Gradually keep trying to move those hindquarters. Much better. There we go. Good. Good. Now, as he comes around to the wall, let's take a look at his canter. Just a couple of steps. Ask him to canter. Help him get a little more energy, if nothing else. That's actually, it was a better transition today. There we go. Keep that. We'll just keep him going in it for a moment or two. See if we can get him to just relax a little bit like that. As soon as he gives you an indication that he's starting to relax and lower that head and neck a little bit in the canter, then let him come back to the trot. Like that. Keep it out in front of you. See if he can get there. I'll go ahead and come back to the trot. That's enough. Still too upside down in that.
I think he heard you, Will.
That was a good. Yep, that's all right. Can't blame him. Now, right away, bring him closer to you once again and try to establish those hindquarters moving out again as we get a little more swing in that trot.
There you go, buddy.
There we go. All right. There we go. Once again, just keep bringing him a little closer to you. Bring that forehand in to move the hindquarters out just a little bit and then let it out again. Like that. There we go. Good there. Now let him walk.
And walk.
I want to reward him for finally re-engaging himself there.
Walk on.
Good boy. Now ask him to halt and change directions.
And who? Oh, buddy. Done here, buddy. Whoa.
Yeah, it's coming around pretty quickly now. Nice there. Good go. And go ahead and ask him to trot. Same thing this way, working him in and out of the circles, trying to move those hindquarters further and further outside the circle if we can. He still wants to go little haunches in on time. That's better now, starting to bend. This is his easier direction, isn't it? Or has been?
Yeah, like I said, it goes back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Starting to get there now. There we go. Very nice. Now notice, folks, as soon as he went into that stretch, all of a sudden it slowed down, and look at how much more flexion there is in its hocks. That's what we're looking for. So instead of just taking little short, fast steps, he started taking longer reaching ones. Notice the underside of his neck now has started to completely relax. That's what we're looking for. All right, that's more like it. Now we're starting to get them. Good.
Trot.
Good. That's more like it. Now we're starting to get there. And let him come back to a walk.
And walk.
And now let's put our rider on there. See if we can get the same thing.
And whoa.
So for those of you watching this source, it's quite a week back. If you look there, as we're looking at this view of him here, you can see that behind the saddle, there's still a bit of a dip there. Now, he was quite sway back a little bit. So it's really come up a great deal with him, but he's still got a ways to go. But certainly it's filling in there pretty nicely. So that's what we're doing, is we're putting Darcy on here, since she weighs a lot less than Ron. Get him used to that way. But you'll see that even just putting her on him will make a difference in how this horse moves. And we'll try to get him moving over his back.
He's fine. He's fine. You don't hold that up. Do the. Let's go right first.
Let's go in the same direction we just went. Yeah, the easier direction.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna be standing. Can you wait a minute? I gotta do the other side yet. I saw that. It's a little easier when you don't have 3 parkas on. Okay, why don't you get on them and then I'll put this on them. He's following his father. It's like Wherever I go, he goes. Move it back. Okay. Or go out a little bit further, Darcy. So I'm under the speaker.
Well, the rider can begin to take over a little more control here, beginning to move him out away from her inside leg on the circle. Good. Okay. Again, asking the leg yield a little bit more to the outside. Every time he just sort of hollows on you like that, you want to go back and try to re-engage that inside hind leg. Like that. So it starts to smooth out. There we go. Like that. Yeah, much better. Yeah, we're getting there. Just once again, every time he comes up, take a little bit of feel of your reins there to soften him just a little bit. Move him off your inside leg again, putting him a little bit shoulder fore on your circle till we re-engage him. Here. Yeah, I like that. Much better now. There we go. Once again, every time he kind of comes up again and drops out from underneath you, then we need to go back to the shoulder in a little more, asking to move away from that inside hind leg. There we go, like that. There you go now. That's where we want him to get. That's really good now. That's the best walk we've had yet today. Really good. Really nice now. That's the way. And prepare to trot. Now, when we trot, he's probably going to throw his head up a little bit and disengage. So we know that's going to happen. So just prepare to deal with it, but just keep going until he softens again. That's really good. But maybe today, let's see how it goes. Whenever you're ready from that deepest stretch, just ask him to trot. Don't worry about the frame. Just start rising with him. So he just can accustom to your weight. See how he wants to drop away from the contact of the weight of the rider. And just keep going for a minute. See if we can smooth this out. Amazing how different a horse can look. You see him going around like that, he kind of almost looks like he's unsound, but he's just asymmetrical when he does this. And once again, keep just gradually trying to move him out on your circle like you're doing. And softening maybe a little bit with your inside rein. Don't have to worry about that too much, but just try to keep him going and keep smoothing it out till he gets back into the stretch again, learns to move over his back. So everybody is watching this, pay very close attention to what happens to the back here and what happens to his hocks, and as he does begin to stretch, how that changes. You can kind of see right now, he's just stabbing his front legs in the ground and pulling himself along. See how that thickening on the other side of his neck. And just keep going. And just softening them ever so lightly. You can even bring that inside rein a little bit to the inside, like an open leading rein. At this point, a lot of our riding should be done kind of an open leading rein until they begin to settle into the contact. So you're just bringing your inside hand to the inside without losing contact with it. So you're not trying to push him over with that inside rein, but you're also not losing contact with it. Just keep going for a minute if you can stay with it. See if we can bring him around. There we go. Trying. Keep going. Try for a minute to give more rein. Let me see what he does if you kind of throw away a foot of rein. Let's let him have more of it. There you go. There you go. That's what we need to do. You kind of got to be careful. You just keep throwing, and then act a little more active in the trot there. Now you're starting to get there. There we go. So that was a case of needing to just let go, even though it didn't seem like you had any contact, but he just needed more space in the reins. There we go. So when in doubt, throw away a little more rein. Like that. There. Now he's starting to stretch into the contact, and now we begin to see his gaits change. You see how every time he hollows himself again, how he kind of hollows out, starts hobbling kind of along. So wait, yeah, that's it. Give a little more rein there, like that. Want to get it consistent. There, good now. That's what we want to have happen right there. Good job. There. There, really good now. That's really good. Keep that right there. How different that looks. It's a lot easier to rise to the trot, doesn't it? So.
She said yes. She doesn't have her mic.
There we go. The hollow horse isn't pushing you out of the saddle, so you have to do all the work by posting against your legs. That's really good. And once they start to push up their back, it just, you sit, it pops you right out of the saddle, and away you go. You can go for hours that way. Really nice, like that. Really nice now. Keep that going. Really good, like that. And the only thing that's really important in the training of a horse is that we get them over their back every day, or whatever we're doing is aimed at getting them over their back so that they can move correctly. Then we get the relaxation we want. It's only when a horse can be comfortable in its gaits that it's ever going to really relax. And having said that, there's a lot of difference between a horse that's relaxed and one that's just dead, if you will. Really nice now. And now ease him back to a walk. Really nice. Excellent. Really nice downward transition. And just keep going in this direction for a moment. We're going to do it one more time. Let him stretch out like that. Give the rein like that. As long as he's stretching out, let him have it. And even sometimes when he's not. See, that was the problem there. Even though you just needed to throw away a little more rein, even that little bit of holding him back was keeping him from seeking the contact. And now ask him to trot again. Legs are the only thing involved in this. Just asking with your legs. If you have to tap with the whip a little bit, fine. But we're not trying to set him up with the reins being the point. It doesn't work that way. There we go. We immediately give that rein. It gets right back out in the stretch again. That's fantastic. That's really good now. There we go. Excellent. Yeah. Better keep going. Give him a little tap now to get a little more. And then give him more reins. There you go. Like that. Like that. Really good now. Like that. Good. Good. There. Now ask him to walk again. I like how good he's staying in these downward transitions. He's not just totally hauling out of it. It's really good. Now ask him to halt and change directions. That was really good that time. Only took a moment. That was really nice.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, there, big boy.
That's a difference. Like when you're riding, two different personalities.
lot different than riding Calvin, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But also, it's night and day when Apollo versus when he really starts to stretch. Night and day.
It's good though, because you can really feel the difference on this one when he's over his back and when he's not. There's no difference. I mean, it's so uncomfortable when he's not. So a great one to learn that feel on. Imagine how many people go by riding all day long, every day on their horses with them upside down, the way you feel this one, that horrible feeling of out of balance, and then they try to force them into some kind of frame to improve it, which usually just slows them down. Very nice. And once again, just using that open leading rein on the inside when necessary, just bringing your hand out to the inside. Maintain that contact. When I say contact, of course, once again, I'm talking about the weight of the rein with no slack in it, so that you can feel the mouth without tension. Soften him just that little bit more. See if you can push the hindquarters out a little more. See if we can get that stretch a little deeper. There we go. Now it's starting to happen there. Once again, try to move the hindquarters out a little bit more. Think of just doing a leg yield, if nothing else, is to move them out in your circle. They'll begin to activate the hindquarters, even if they're not outside the circle. And try to move the hindquarters a little bit more. Be afraid to give them a little tap there. Once again, moving the hindquarters to the outside. Use your whip a little bit. Give them a little tap there. But you've got to sort of take over that work since Ron's way in there. There you go. That's getting better. Once again, trying to move the hindquarters a little more outside. Now give a little more rein for a second. Let me see what he does even here in the walk if you just throw the reins at him a little bit more. It's getting better. Soften him a little bit more with that inside rein. Once again, you're just taking a little contact, giving and taking. And while you try to move those hindquarters to the outside, let him relieve himself there. Of course, everything usually gets a little better. As it did. There, that's more like it. Now we're starting to get something like a walk. It's why it's so important, folks, that we always let horses relieve themselves when they want to. There's a lot of people who ride horses that think you should never let them go to the bathroom when you're on their backs. But you imagine what that must do to the animal. They think that he can never relieve himself because they're never going to lift their back. That's what they're trying to do. Is you lift their back, it frees their intestines and they start wanting to move stuff through. So that's what we want to have happen. And we've all been constipated at some time in our life. Imagine how horrible a horse feels trying to carry you when he feels like that. There. Now prepare to trot. Once again, we'll just do the best we can. Don't grab hold of him with the reins. Just start him with your legs unless something goes wrong, of course, and save yourself. But I'm not expecting that. And just ask him up into the trot. Don't do anything with your hands until you start trotting. Just start to rise. Once again, give him a little tap, maybe with your bump with your legs. Whenever I say to tap with your whip, I always mean to use your leg along with it. So he understands that it's both, that you're teaching him the respect to the leg. There you go. Now throw the reins out and give him a little more rein. Let me see what he does like we did in the other direction. Just kind of keep an open leading rein. Take a little contact on the inside there just to and let it stay open. Your right rein just can kind of stay alongside where it is there, but doesn't need to have any big contact with it yet. Like that. And just keep him going along here for a minute. It always takes him a minute to get in gear. There we go. Now give the rein. He's starting to want to go. So give him a little more rein. There you go. Give him the reins. Give him the reins. Keep him going. A little touch of that inside leg. There. Good. Keep it going. Another little touch of your inside leg. You need to touch a little your whip behind it. There you go. Now we're getting there. That's excellent. Very nice. Getting there. So every time he pops up or you lose that feeling of swinging it back, once again, just soften with that inside rein a little bit, activating him with your inside leg a little bit. So at this point in training, it's kind of inside aids. Later on, it becomes lateral aids, and that is both at the same time. And later on, it becomes mostly outside rein aids. But that's the progression the horse has to go through in his training. That doesn't happen instantly. Like that. Good. Keep it going. Give a little more rein there again. A little tap of your whip there on this side. There. That's getting better. That's getting better. Keep it going. And a little tap behind your leg there, a little bump of your leg first, of course. You just don't want to keep trying to move those hindquarters. Now give your reins a little more there. Give it. There. Wanting to get there. There. Give a little more rein, slacken your reins. There, like that. Good. Keep it going. There, starting to get there. A little tap of your whip right behind your left leg. Like that. Now we're getting there. The more you can move those hindquarters out on the circle, the quicker he's going to engage. Like that. There we go. Like that. Now we've got him. Very good. Very nice. Right there. Keep that. Excellent. Very nice. Good. Like that. Much better. Once again, every time he pops up, it's a little softening of that inside rein with just a little feel of the leg on the inside. Like that. There we go. There we go. Good. Like that. Really nice. Notice that back end all of a sudden freed up. There he is right there. Beautiful. Now walk. I love hearing that big blowout. That's really good now. And now let him come back to a walk. Just like that. And didn't disengage. That's really nice right there. Excellent now. Really good job. And just keep that walk and that stretch for a moment. That's really nice. Very nice. Now, as you come to the center line, that's really a nice walk. You may halt and dismount. That was excellent. That's it. Just use your voice commands. Take your time. We're not in any hurry. And ho. That's right. There you go. The main thing is they not just stop and invert on you. That's really nice. And you may dismount. That was excellent today. Much better. Gets better every time. I really like the walk that we ended with. That was excellent. But I can tell you could really feel it that time when all of a sudden he went over his back, didn't it? It was a total change in him.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, come on down here and we'll talk about this one.
I see that.
Any questions about that one today? It was really well done, though. I was really happy with where we got to.
Yeah, I think it went really good. It's different every day when we work them. So some days
Yeah.
we get really nice progress, some days not so good. But it's just consistent. It's like
I just wanted to ask
sure.
a quick question. So
But-
mic on. Will, my only question is, it seemed like what really triggered and worked, trigger no pun intended, was the letting go of the reins like completely. Like I didn't feel like I had any contact really either, but as soon as I let go, and then every time you were saying kind of inside aids, I really just stuck to mostly my leg, and it seemed to really click for him, at least going left.
That's it. Well, that's the thing to realize that what if they're not coming through, there's very little your hand can do,
Yeah.
other than just get out of the way, because if they're not coming through, it's, pulling back on the reins is not going to make them come through. They've got to come through from your leg,
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to start all that they, that they're going through before we get on them, because that's what happens to so many horses. People start riding them before they ever start going through. And once again, if you have some big, fabulous horse, that a lot of them still look like something to people who don't know what they're looking at, even though they're hollow and upside down because they're such fabulous horses. But of course they go lame at a very young age because of it. Whereas if you if you try to ride a horse like this, the way you see people riding dressage today, you would never get anywhere. It would simply stop moving and hollow, and that would be the end of the story. You would get absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
And of course, that kind of keeps the myth of the thing going, because most trainers today, if you went to with a horse like this, they'd watch you for about 3 days and then they'd tell you this horse is a piece of junk and you need another one. This horse is never going to do it. Any horse can come up to their own level, which is much higher than many people give them credit for. This horse, given the time, just the time that I've seen him go from being an upside down, U-necked, whatever, to what he's going now. So there's unless they're dead lame and simply can never work hard enough to develop, those are the only horses that you can't get anywhere with, because you can't work them, into regular gaits because they're too lame to do it. So, but with ones like this,
like we've had this horse for now 4 or 5 years, right? Like you've had.
Yeah.
So I feel like when you'd come for clinics, we would get somewhere, and then like things would slowly start to like dissipate, or like I don't know. Ron thinks he was making some progress, but I think we've seen huge progress since we've been doing these lessons regularly.
Well, to understand that really makes a big difference, to do it all step by step, not missing a step anywhere along. Because if you miss one step and then start thinking, oh, I won't bother with this today, pretty soon it all falls apart. It depends. It's again with a horse that's not strong enough to get on his back. You've got to, like, that's what we've gone through with this. He couldn't carry Ron. He could not lift his weight. He's only just now being able to lift your weight and get regular. So you've got to go through that process, and then he'll get there. But that was really nice, and understand that it mostly comes from your leg. As I say, if the horse is hollow, pulling back with your reins isn't going to do anything. Whereas a lot of people will try to pull them behind the bridle and then start kicking them up, trying to force their hindquarters underneath them. But that ends up with a horse that's tense and overbit and running away with you pretty soon. So it doesn't really work that way. I mean, there's some people who kind of ride that way. They can get by with a certain kind of horse that is willing to be browbeat like that. But a lot of horses you can't ride like. They won't put up with it. And those are the kind of horses that just get, the trainer start, oh, this horse is no good. So if the horse doesn't go the only way the trainer knows to go, then, it's a no good horse. It's got to go that way, for what that person knows. So anyway, but with this system, happily, you realize you can get there with any of them. Most horses can do quite well if they're sound enough to be developed. Now, if they're unsound, that's a whole different story. We can't simply work on sound horses. But hopefully, if you get started on this process before, bad riding starts laming the horse, there's no reason why you can get there. And, this is a good example of that. So great job.
Yeah, thanks.
All right.
So we're going to take a quick break.
Okay, quick little break, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes with the next horse. Hope everybody who's out there watching is enjoying this. If you have questions, I think you can put them on there. I think Catherine is on there helping us with this today. You are? Hello. And we'll talk to you soon. I'm going to take a little break, and we'll be right back.
Okay, we're live.
All right. Hello, everybody. We're back with Calvin and Darcy now. We will get started with a little work in hand
Okay.
to start with, as always,
Come
or
here.
at least for now,
Come here.
at this point.
Come on.
Remember, people, one of the most important things to take away from these lessons when you're watching them is if you watch how systematically I go through all of this and how important that is day after day, sticking to the same sort of plan, the same things I'm trying to get done and build on a little. And then you end up with a lot. You never get any, the only huge change you can ever make in a horse in a day is taking one that's been upside down and teach it to stretch and now it can actually move together. But beyond that, everything else develops quite slowly. And of course, that's the problem today is that we live in a fast food world. Everybody wants everything instantly. And of course, they've kind of been convinced that you can get it. That's really nice. Very nice. And at this end on the circle here, once all the way down, let's see if we get him a little deeper. Push the hindquarters out a little bit more on your circle.
There you go.
Very nice. That's more like it. Now, there we go. Now, once again, everyone watch. As soon as he drops that head really down and loosens up, you see how much more flexion he gets in his hocks back there. That's what we're looking for, to maximize the movement, not the position. But dressage riders need to get in their heads that, if the position ruins the movement, you aren't doing anything, and you're certainly not doing dressage. So it's movement that we're always working towards. Correct movement over the back.
Okay. Bio break.
Another moment. Okay. There we go. Once again, notice that once that's all out, how much better the walk is. So it's so important that we let them relieve themselves. I know many of you have heard me harp about this, but I'm amazed at how many people I see who beat up horses every time that they try to go to the bathroom. It's absurd. And once again, you'll never get a horse to want to work with you if they can't relieve themselves. They're always going to be, upset throughout the workout. And they're never going to move the way they might. Really nice, like that. Much better. Now that you've got a big stretch going, next time around the circle, you can go large in the walk. Keep him, see if you can even lengthen a little bit going away from us and then turn by the center line at the top and do a leg heel to the left.
Okay.
Ahead. And keeping her in that deep stretch, go ahead and turn by the center line at the top and do a leg heel to the left. Really nice there. Good job. Really nice. Now, as you come to this end again, we're going to stay on the circle, but we're going to bring him up and try to develop a working walk. Right. Good job. Now keep that position and go large, and then come back to me on the other side and shoulder in.
Boy.
Very nice. Really nice, right there. That's good. Excellent.
Boy.
And coming back onto the circle here, let him stretch all the way down again and lengthen the stride around the circle. Very nice. Now bring him back up into the working position. And as you come to the center line, just ask him to halt.
And whoa. Oh, good boy.
Very nice. Not bad at all. And let's change directions. Now, ultimately, as we do this, I would like him to stay a little bit. He didn't pop out completely upside down or anything, but he ultimately want to work towards where we can keep him sort of on the bridle, if you will. That takes time, but keep working towards that in your halts. So starting on the circle here in the stretch, all the way down. Well, Calvin is certainly getting to know his routine.
Yeah, he really is.
Very little difficulties. Although for this kind of horse, you know, how now he keeps that underside of his neck almost completely soft all the time. That's really nice. And horses built like this generally tend to pull themselves along by the front end. So usually have pretty built up undersides of their neck. Now push those hindquarters out a little bit on your circle there, a little bit. Begin to engage just a little more. One direction is always a little more difficult than the other.
You can do it. There you go.
All right.
Hey.
Once again, stay on the circle, so we're getting back all the way down there again. That's it.
Hey.
Every time he comes up, ask him for a little more step over. Re-engage that inside hind leg, like that.
Yeah, there you go. A little bit too much maybe from the shoulder, but.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, good. Now, next time around, you go ahead and go large down this next long side.
Hey, whoa.
There you go. You're good. Oh, he's got an itch.
I feel like I'm driving the horse instead of standing next to him.
There we go. So just going long in the stretch, and then we'll come down the center line to the top and leg yield to the right.
Good boy. There you go.
Very nice. Keep him leading with the shoulder just slightly. There we go. Going over. Let the neck be a little straighter. Don't pull it quite so much to the inside. There you go, like that. Remember that we always want the neck pretty much straight with the rest of the spine. That when we talk about the bend we talk about comes where the saddle is, under right at the base of the withers. We talk about bending not at the shoulder. Many people are confused by that. They see a horse with its neck bent to the inside and they think it's bent. That's just the neck. Now what I'd like you to do is go large with him down the next long side, keeping the stretch, but through the short side, I want you to bring him up into more of a shoulder in, and then continue the shoulder in down this next long side, coming back towards us.
Okay.
So basically stretching down the long side, bringing him up through the short side, preparing him, and then doing a little bit of a shoulder four, coming down the next long side.
There you go.
Very nice.
Oh boy.
There we go. That's looking pretty good. Keep that going. Very nice. And then all the way down on the circle here one last time. Really good work. I love how this horse just marches along now.
Hey, hey. There you go. Oh boy.
Very nice. Excellent work. One more time, a little deeper in that stretch. Just 1 second. There you go, like that. Really good now. Now ask him to halt.
And whoa. Whoa.
Just sort of stop following, but always giving and taking. Never just make your hands rigid, but if you feel him pull into it, give for a second, take back. That was really good. Ready to go on the lunge line.
Okay.
First without the rider, of course.
And whoa. Boy. Yeah, he seems a little irritated with the whole move my hind end out going. I guess that was to the left, right?
Mm.
But yeah, but not too bad, right?
Yeah, no, nothing at all. That came around quite nice. Got your whip there in his mouth. Careful. I'll whip you now. I know what this is for.
He's like, let's switch roles.
Now I'll work you in hand.
Oh yeah, sorry, we're taking these off. Are you helping me? Are you doing the side right now?
Yeah, we moving it up or staying?
No,
down?
staying where it is.
How are things in Ithaca these days? Are the college still closed and everything there?
No, things are pretty open now. In fact, they're actually going to do an in-person graduation. Just, I think they're going to have like socially distanced measures and stuff in place.
No parents, just the students.
We're lunging first. Yeah, we're lunging, Ron. We're lunging him without a rider first.
Oh, you're lunging without a rider?
We don't need this to. Yeah, just
See,
for a
I was
minute, just
getting
be
ahead
sure
of
it's where we
myself,
need it. An enthusiastic assistant.
Okay, are we good?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I was getting you all set to get on.
Okay, Caldies.
Hey,
Good?
buddy.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were done. Whoa. Do you need it still?
Need to pay attention there.
Okay.
I think I'm going to tighten the girth one. Okay, ready? Come on. Come on. Good boy.
He's getting ready to launch. Somebody asked about when we were working on the halt with trigger. Should I typically be working him in like the working position to do the halt, or either way, just to see what he was doing?
Yeah, that was an idea to find out where he's at with it. I mean, if you can get him to stop and just soften it. It was going to take a while. He still got that desire to want because it's not that over his back yet. That will just get easier and easier. It's not something that you want to worry too much about. As I said, when it's really right, it'll just suddenly happen without any problem, and he'll stay soft. You know what I mean? So it's not worth harping on it about. It will come as he develops.
Okay, yeah.
So once again, just try it once a day in your schooling, and try and see how it goes. See if it's getting any better.
Great. Yeah. Somebody asked.
As he gets more consistent, and stronger over his back, he'll start to just halt more square. I mean, he tends to. At this point, he halts and everything drops, and he wants to go like this, and end of story. So that just takes a while to get to the other side of that. But it's really good. So try it at different positions. Try it with him all the way down the stretch and see if he'll halt there without. The main thing is they just start getting it, and don't expect him to stay there. He's obviously gets fidgety. So if you get a good halt, just move right on again and pat him on the neck and be done. So don't try to make him stand there for 5 minutes. Flex at the bridle, because that once you've lost that impulse through the back, which is what softens the jaw and pull and allows him to stay. So if they immediately stop and the back drops because there isn't enough strength without the push from the back to keep it there, then that's what's going to happen. So it's kind of a little bit of a test. It will just get better and better as he gets better and better. So it's nothing that you want to worry about or do too much of. I mean, once a day is fine when you come to the end of your halt and see if it happens correctly. But as I say, you don't want to try to force that issue. Well, now I'm going to hold you here and make you do this. It's not about that at all. It's kind of a little test, like looking at the canter. Let's see what happens when we canter. If the canter's not really there, we don't do it, but it helps him a little bit, maybe gets a little more energy and we move on from it. But we don't try to do, once again, if the horse physically can't do a good canter, more canter is only going to make the horse lame. It's only, if they can't get there within a couple of circles to start stretching and loosening their back, all it does, because you see how when they canter, when they're hollow, they brace against their front feet all the time, so you can really pop splints and all those kind of things doing that. As well as wear out the front leg. So, we try a little bit, but we never get hung up on any of that stuff. It's just a good test to see where he's getting to at this point.
Great.
And that will just get easier and easier.
Great. Thanks.
Really nice here with Calvin. So I hope that answers the question for anybody who asked that question. But I will also answer, if anybody has more questions that they put on there after the fact, I will certainly answer them later on. Or if there's some there that you want to relay to us at the end of the thing, we can talk about that too. Really nice in the walk with Calvin. Stretching just a little more. There we go. So Whaley really stretches out. This is just really so nice how even here he just keeps that, even if he goes up and down a little bit, he doesn't just make that underside of his neck rigid. So he doesn't just invert and start dragging himself along. Yeah. Boy, there you go. Really nice. And now you can ask him to trot.
Trot. Come on. Hey.
And also know that here in the lessons, as soon as you get to where it is, I tell you to go on. But know that when you're here on your own and we don't have a time issue, then by all means, spend all the time you want on that walk. Yeah, really nice there. Really nice. Boy, look how that belly just immediately came up for this watching. Watch how he engaged his core right away. Well, that's really nice. Now just try to get a little bigger swing in it. Now that we've got that, then let's try to maximize it and see if we can get just a little bigger trot. But I love how, he's like this. Look how much flexion he's getting in his hock, and that's what we want to see. Again, that's what's going to start. Lightness comes from the horse being able to push up and through its back from the hind legs. That's what lifts the front end. Unfortunately, most people today think that collection is how high the horse lifts its knees up like this, but it has nothing to do with that. It's how high the thrust of the hind legs lifts the entire body into the air. That's what real collection is. But of course, real collection is difficult. and takes years of study to be able to do. So, of course, they've dumbed our sport down. I don't even call it a sport anymore. Come on. Really nice there. Good. Very good. And once again, once you get there, try to get a little more movement out of it. See if we get a little more push off that back end. So always remember, everybody, it's not just once we get the stretch, that facilitates the horse coming back. I mean, coming over its back. But then we have to really start with some horses, asking them to open that up a little bit. So once we get it, to get a little more push, we keep trying to get the stride a little bigger. A little bit more, see if you can get a little more activity out of him. There we go. But I love how soft he's now staying over his top line. So good. A little bit more active again. I'm curious, he's really so good in this today. Let's take a little peek at his canter. So as you come around to the wall next time, ask him to canter on the other side. And let's see what his canter is starting to look like.
Ready?
Certainly getting this nice soft trot really easily.
Canter.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Keep that going for a moment. That's a good improvement. Nice. There. Now back to a trot.
And trot. Good boy.
That was really quite good for him. That's probably the best canter I've seen from him. And just that little more active in the trot again. Once we get that, it's really good. And now let him come back to a walk. Very happy with all that.
And walk.
Let him halt and change directions.
Whoa. Whoa. Good boy. Good boy. Okay. Come on. There you go. Oh, good boy. Walk. Good boy. Good job.
Good. And now ask him to trot. So it's your idea.
And trot.
Really nice. And once again, once you get that, then try to get a little closer to him and see if we can maximize that. So we get a little more swing in that trot. But I love how his hind end is coming underneath him now. Really good.
There you go.
That's really good. Just a little more. Keep trying to open it up just a little more. See if we can get a little bigger swing out of it. Really nice. I like that. Now, as you come around to the wall over there, ask him to canter.
Ready? Canter.
Good. 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 Keep it going for a moment. A little tap. I love how he's trying to get his neck out in front of him, and it's not a day. Good. 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 Good.
Canter.
There, really nice. Just do a couple more steps. Ask him to canter one more time. So it's your idea when he breaks.
Okay.
But ask him one more time.
Ready?
It's really good though. I love the trot up with that. That's really nice.
Canter. Come on. Okay. Come on.
That's good.
Canter. Come on.
Now back to the trot. I love his neck went out in front of him there for a moment. And let him come back and settle in the trot again. Really good though. But much better canter. It's really starting to come. Nice there. Good. Really good there.
Good job.
Excellent. Keep that for a moment. Keep it.
Yeah.
Really great today. Really nice.
Trot.
Now you may ask him to walk.
And walk. Good job.
Boy, Calvin. All right, we're ready. We're going to try today taking off the side reins and you mounting up, and we're going to try our lesson without doing you on the lunge line first. See how that goes.
Okay.
See if he's ready for that.
Okay.
I think he probably is.
Hey. Whoa. Whoa. Normally he stops for me. Whoa.
Oh, buddy.
It's like I just want to keep going.
That's good. That's ultimately what we want them to do. We want to set them up and then just let them keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
If we've done our job correctly, that's how it would be. This idea of legging horses that you see people doing is, I mean, it seems like it would be such an exhaustive way to ride a horse.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Here, we're just taking them off, and I'm getting.
Yeah, I'm gonna take everything off and just see how he does, starting right into riding. It's test day, Calvin.
Uh-oh.
There you go to the next level. If we can put all the pieces together.
I've been eyeing some local intro level dressage tests in the area, wondering.
Oh, good.
If this summer we could do something.
I wouldn't see why not.
We only have another dilemma, and that's if we took one, well, I could probably take just him, but if we tried to take Trigger and him, we'd have Reese left here, and he would not be happy about that, so we'd have to figure something out.
You have 3 horses on your property all the time?
Yeah, we have Reese, Calvin, and Trigger, but Reese's just not really doing much of anything except eating.
He's officially retired.
Yep.
If I could find somebody that wanted to ride him locally, but do it under lessons with you, I would do that. But I don't know.
Well,
it's hard because I can't find anyone that's willing to do something like that, you know?
Yep. And let him live out his life out there and enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. He's 21 now, so actually, is he 22? I think he turned 22 this year. So, you know.
I mean, you just don't want to turn him over to somebody who doesn't know how to ride, knows nothing about what you're doing or whatever.
Yeah.
And
well,
go, okay,
exactly.
Go have fun. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
To him, I mean, it would just be a struggle.
I joke because I call him my very expensive $2,000 horse, because we basically bought this property because I thought I could find a way to make him super happy, and boarding facilities are hard for him.
Yeah, they're hard for everybody. I'm so glad that we got out of the way. I mean, it's so nice to be at home with our horses. And,
yeah, exactly. Come on. Come on. No, it makes a huge difference, and I mean, it's work. There's no doubt it's work, but I love it.
Yep, it keeps you alive, active.
Hey, whoa.
I mean, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. We're early risers anyway, but I will say I miss the every once in a while, just getting up in the morning, drinking coffee, and not having to go outside.
Well, the big thing that's made it so great for us is we got those automatic feeder things. So we only feed hay once a day. You know,
Oh, that's
we
great.
put it in these automatic feeders, so we can go away for dinner. Right? I mean, we're not, you know, once we feed them in the morning, they're set for the day, other than a little bit of whatever else later on. But
That was the. No, he was trying to pull me. No, we're not doing that. No.
yeah, no, we're gonna try not doing the lunging today. We'll see if we're gonna start off with a work and a walk and see if we can get there. And if not, then we'll go on the lunge. You can go ahead while we're going around here, in no time like the present, turn by the center line or anywhere near it, and just begin to do a little light leg yield over to the left. Begin to engage. Again, I'm going to be 68 years old next month, which shocks me. How did that happen?
Oh, I know.
I thought I was 20. Shock that we all go through, right? Now on the circle here, let's ask him to stretch all the way down on the circle at this end.
Hey, honey, what are you doing? There you go.
So we're changing the program a little bit. So.
Whoa. Hey, what's going on?
Whoa. What's all that? Is that spooky?
Whoa. Walk.
Keep giving and taking until you get to slow down, to get those ranges shorter. Oh. Oh, Calvin. What's that about?
What that was all about.
Well, go ahead and keep your range a little shorter there in case he tries that again on you for a moment.
I didn't handle it very well either, though. It just
right
surprised me completely.
Sorry, I had to step away for a minute. I had a cat trying to kill another one of my cats. There we go. That's a little more like it. Just go large in that walk. There it is. And now we'll turn by the center line at the top and try a leg yield to the left. But of course, that's what makes training horses interesting is, you know, they are living. We never know what they're going to do. You have to always be prepared. That's more like it. Very nice, like that. Very good. Nicely done. Keep that now. Now just keep the walk you have now. It's not a bad walk at all. Change the rein across the next diagonal. And we'll turn by the center line and leg yield to the right now.
There you go. Good boy.
Nice. Yeah. Now on the circle here, let's see if we can get a little deeper stretch now out of him on the circle. Now that he seems to have settled down. We would like to be able to get a stretch right off the bat with every horse, but it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes they're a little too fractious to be able to let go of the reins much. But we have to keep giving and taking. We never hold a horse against our hands. So if you have a horse that's heavy, you're going to run off, it's always giving and taking. As soon as you fix your hand, they'll run right through it. If you can work that a little bit deeper, move his hindquarters a little bit outside, a little bit, take up the slack a little bit and soften him a little bit through the jaw and pull to get and reach out in front of you like that. There we go. That's the way. Keep working that, softening a little bit more with that inside rein, but also occasionally with the outside rein, keeping the slack out of it when you need it. It's getting better. There we go, like that. Now we're getting there. Really nice now. Notice how big the step suddenly starts getting behind. Good. Now go large in the walk. You can bring him up about midway again, if you will, easily. You start to go down.
Bring him up.
Yeah, so you go down this long side. We'll begin to bring him up about midway. See if he'll stay there without too much difficulty. Nice. And shoulder in, coming down the next long side. Very nice. Very nice, like this. Good position right there. Very good, keep him right there. Now back on the circle here at this end again. Keep him soft there in that working walk. It's really quite nice. Take a little shorter feel of the reins and ask him to soften his jaw and pull a little bit. See if we can get a little more flexion out of him without him hollowing. Just bring him up just a little bit more. There you go, like that. That's starting to get there. There, keep working that. Softening him a little bit shoulder in now. See if we can get a little more. You move him into that leg yield, into that outside rein a little bit more. There we go, like that. Very nice. Now go large, take the diagonal here and change across the diagonal in the walk. You can let him stretch all the way down on the diagonal if he's nice and relaxed. And start to develop the working walk a little more again as you go through the short side. Nice, and shoulder in down the next long side. Very nice. Right there, that's good. Really nice. Yeah, just circling kind of there in the middle where you are is kind of a good place. You can start a circle right there, but keep him on the bridle right where you have him. Pretty good working walk for him. Prepare to trot on the circle. And when you're ready, trot rising. Stay on the circle. Hey, buddy. Hey there. Correct your rising diagonal. Stay on that circle. Nice. Ask with your inside leg to try to move those hindquarters out a little bit on the circle. There we go. Now see if he'll stretch all the way down for you now. Correct your rising diagonal. You skipped a beat on me there. There you go. Good. Right there is excellent. Really nice there. Good work. Someone asked today on the internet, if you happen to be watching this, how do you ask the horse to stretch while you're working? Well, if your work has been correct, all you do is loosen the reins and they'll go into a stretch. There's lots of things we do to get to that point.
Okay, just trot.
But if they've correctly developed, that's what they want to do. Go ahead and shorten up the reins a little bit. We'll bring him back up in a little more into a working trot from the stretch now. Shorten him up, bring him up. As you go large, when you reach the other long side. Very nice there. Just continue large. Very nicely done. Just keep trying to soften his jaw and pull a little bit more. I'd like a little more flexion, but it's not important that it get, there you go. Right there is perfect. Really nice. Excellent working trot out of him. Excellent. Really nice, Darcy. Right there. That's good work. Keep it right there. Don't change a thing. Just go large and keep him just there. Don't change a thing. Now, from the next long side, change across the diagonal. Once again, soften him that a little bit more. Right there is perfect. Very nice. That's really good. Change the rein on the diagonal. So I'm ready. And then back onto a circle again. You like there. And let's stretch him all the way down in the circle once we can establish that.
Good boy.
Yeah, really good now. Like that. Excellent work. Good. Stay on the circle, but now start to bring him up again. Very nice. Very nice. Right there. Very good. And go large in that trot. Right there. From the center line, anywhere near it, don't try to hit the center line. It'll be too close. But turn after the center line and try to do a leg yield from there. So as close as you can get, but without stopping the horse up. Like that. Turn directly on at this level would be too tight a turn. You'd lose it. That's really nice. Like that. Now circle in the center. A little bump of your leg to get just a little more swing through on it. Keep him soft in his bridle. Like that. That's beautiful. Really nice. Really nice. Now all the way down. He seems to want that again. So let's let him have that stretch all the way down. Good. Like how he really stretches it out. Watch how the hocks start to really move when he stretches like that. Total difference. Good. Now start to go large and bring him up in the reins. Very nice. Like that. Change the rein across the diagonal. We have a new inside leg now. That's important. Now we soften him a little bit on this side. Go onto your circle there, keeping him in the working trot.
There you go. Good boy.
Yeah. Really nice. And let him go all the way down again. So again, everyone, notice how engaged his core is now. That belly has come up, brought his flanks in. Starts to look like an athlete. Very nice. Now on the circle, bring him back up again. Right there. Really nice. Really nice. Yeah. Really nice right there. Now go large. and ask him to walk as you go through the end of the short side there.
And walk. Good boy.
That's the one. Good. And let him stretch all the way out in that walk. That was wonderful, Darcy. What a great ride. Absolutely fantastic.
I'm really happy with it. It didn't start out so good at first, but I don't know what happened. I feel like I must have hit him with the whip or something.
I thought I heard a little noise or something over there behind you.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was short-lived, whatever it was, and was no big deal compared to how we tried to run out of the arena. I remind everybody when I started with her with this horse, what was that, about Christmas time or after? I can't remember when we started, before the winter break. But my point being is that he was grabbing the reins and trying to run out of the arena with her and this sort of thing, looking for the doors, and he seems to have completely gotten beyond all of that. He may go to the center line and halt and dismount. I couldn't have wanted that to go any better than it did.
Whoa. Good boy. Good job.
Where's that pretty? Yeah, I certainly think that by this summer you should be able to take him in a little dressage show. And of course, having the stretch like he does, that'll get you a 9, the way he's stretching today. I mean, that's the most important thing. I think most of these upper level riders today must have never even ridden the lower levels, because all the stretches are in the lower level. I mean, how could you have gotten to Grand Prix and not know how to stretch a horse? I mean, but that's, so many trainers, I was so excited when they put the stretches in the early, especially about 91.
Yeah.
I thought people were going to have to learn how to ride, and they didn't. The trainers just told them all, just let go of the reins a little bit. I mean, other than my own students, I've seen very few real stretches out of horses in the dressage ring. But once again, that was the point. The reason they put the stretches in was to prove that their horses were developing correctly, folks. So, anybody who's begun to believe that, this way of riding we're seeing today is something that's been around for a long time, it has not. This is a total aberration, what we've seen in all of the horse sports. I just had that Olympic trial here, and I read that report the other day. Most of the horses were 9 or younger. They all got 70, 80% scores. The only horse that went over its back was 15 years old, and it got a 60%. And it was the only horse that actually was doing dressage in the whole thing. So you see how twisted this has all become. As I said, I think most of these upper level riders today have never even ridden the lower level test. Like, they must just buy these expensive horses and go out and start trying to go Prix St. George or something. But I don't know how you could be that clueless if you had ever ridden the lower levels correctly. How could you think this upside down thing we're now seeing is something? Because it's just been allowed to happen. Once again, it's all about the breeders. The breeders got control of the sport and made dressage into something that you have to buy a special horse for, or you will not win. And that's what they want people to believe.
Definitely true. Yeah.
But if you tried to ride any horse that's not one of those, not that they're getting anywhere, but there's so much movement in those horses, it still looks like something, even though they're upside down. To people who don't know, it's so dramatic, and so much legs flailing everywhere that it looks so impressive to people. But if it's not calm and relaxed, if it doesn't give you, dressage should have never been something that people are hoot and hollering. This is what we've seen in the last 10 years of people being encouraged to hoot and holler during dressage freestyles and all this kind of stuff. I mean, this was all this was never done before recently. The crowds used to be very quiet and respectful, but of course that's not exciting. People who put on these things, which is what happened, they wanted to make it more of a sport for people to come and watch. How do we make this more exciting so we can get sponsors? I mean, this is where it all went down the tube. So unfortunately, that's too bad. But you had a wonderful, wonderful ride today. Questions?
No, I don't have any questions, I don't think. I think it went really well, so I feel good.
I thought it was the best ride you've had, so super work on him. Great job, you guys. See you next week, same time, same channel.
Okay,
yes?
Sounds great. Thanks.
And once again, if anybody else has been watching this, if you have any questions about what we've been talking about, feel free to put them on, and I will come across those later on in the evening and answer whatever questions you might have. But thanks for joining us today. I hope that people's ability to see you guys going through these things step by step, and how important it is to understand that training horses is a system. I mean, there must be a progress of what we do, instead of just randomly trying to ride a horse, if you will. We must have a clear idea of the steps that you have to take to get there. So hopefully watching these guys go through these steps will help you all to realize, with the like with Calvin, if he can't move with weight over his back, there's no point. If you put a rider up there and he couldn't get over his back, well, there'd be no point in doing it. You wouldn't even try again for a couple of months. You'd let him strengthen, as you've kind of done with him, until they can. So that being the point. All right, you guys, great work today. I look forward to seeing you all next week and talking to everybody else very soon. So thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you soon. Great work.
Thanks, Will.
Bye.
Bye.